Hi, good evening. This is Steve Adler. We got a minute. We're going to go over the virus numbers. We're going to talk a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month. We're going to talk about City Council. But before we get to the numbers, we're going to take just a second to recognize the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I will tell you that I learned of it just moments ago. I think she died about 20 minutes ago, or it was announced then. And I'm pretty sad. She was uh, a great steward of our democracy. She dedicated her life to the of fair treatment under the law for everyone, especially for women. It was her legacy that laid the groundwork for so many, like Kamala Harris, to be a vice president on a national ticket. She inspired a generation of young leaders. Um, I guess today we grieve her loss. Tomorrow, we gird ourselves for the battles ahead. I have three daughters, Diane and I, and when I think about how much their lives were improved and bettered by the career and the principles and the work of Justice Ginsburg. Um, I'm also concerned about what this means with respect to the national political situation and the campaign and presidential election in the 3 months, 4 months that are left. I hope that just as President Obama did not appoint and replace a Supreme Court justice, that happens here. But I guess that's for a conversation for tomorrow and thereafter. Now we really do need to give the moment to Justice Ginsburg and her career and her life, the contributions she made to equity and justice and fairness in our country. Janine, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the numbers here tonight. We are up above 20 for new admissions. That's a concern. You can see our 7-day moving average had gotten down to 14. Just a few days ago, we were at 5. We're going to watch that number. I'm hopeful that it's just bouncing around and is not headed up. As you know, we have been concerned that with Labor Day, with the number of people we had visit us from out of town during the hurricane, with the start of schools, the number of people with closer interactions, number of students, but then those students going home and being out in our community, the potential for passing on the virus, even if they were asymptomatic. This is just a crucial time for us. And we'll talk about it in just a little bit, but I am concerned with the governor's actions. New cases today, 163, significantly above our 7-day moving average on new cases. We're still trying to look at that number, trying to figure out how much of that is real and how much of that represents cases from more than 14 days ago with the dump of information from the state, but obviously a concern for us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next dashboard. You can see that on this dashboard, hospitalizations are down to 82, just barely under the 7-day average of 85. Remember, that number had been dropping, and our hospitalization numbers were dropping considerably below the 7-day moving average. Now at 82, real close to the 7-day moving average of 85. We have 20 in the ICUs, 31 in the 7-day average. On ventilators, we have 17 on the 7-day moving average. That's the last indicator. The 161 cases, that increase gets us up to 28,375 cases total. 414 people passed away. That's one more than yesterday. All in all, our numbers are still low, as we can see, but there are hints of concern. Yesterday, the governor announced new changes. He increased the occupancy of restaurants, retail offices to 75%. I am glad and I appreciate that the governor did not open bars, because as we look around our city when we open up bars and other cities around the country, in fact, other countries around the world, there seems to be a correlation between opening up bars and having problems. You don't have to look past the UK, where there was all kinds of pressure to open up their pubs. Their folks loved their pubs. And now the numbers they had brought down sufficiently, kind of like us. They were feeling good. They opened up the pubs, other things as well. But now they're taking remedial action because they're now headed in the wrong direction. I am concerned in our city that our positivity rate and cases are high for students over the age of 10. I think that 83% increase in positive cases in the last 2 weeks. A lot of the new cases attributable to the social activities of high school students and college students. 64% of the positive cases administered through Austin Public Health are for folks that are aged 10 to 29. When we started having an increase in that age group, seeing cases, hospitalizations not going up, and what we said at the time was that would be consistent with younger population getting more cases because they sometimes have a greater percentage that would remain asymptomatic, no symptoms, certainly not a serious enough illness to go to a hospital. The concern, though, is that those young folks interact with people that are not just young folks. And the fear is that soon we would see at the back end of that folks showing up in cases and showing up in the hospital who are older. Let's hope that that's not happening now, but we're just so precarious. The infection level rate, positivity rate among the population that are susceptible, too high. We were working really hard to get the Hispanic positivity rate down to below 5%. We had dropped below 10%. Community care, one of the arms of Central Health, dealing with uninsured, reports that the positivity rate now seems to be climbing among the Hispanic community. We are just at the edge. We are at a point of inflection. We're trying to preserve the ability to be able to open and expand the opening of schools. We're trying to preserve the ability to be able to sustain the openings of businesses. I would still urge everyone, if you can avoid it, don't eat inside a restaurant, eat outside. Studies seem to indicate that that's a lot safer kind of activity. If you're going to eat inside, I urge you to eat with your family or your household group and not with a changing group of people all the time. Make sure that if you're eating inside a restaurant, you're doing it in a restaurant that is providing the utmost in protection, separations of people. The staff is all wearing masks. People are wearing masks when they get up from the table to go to the restroom and back again. But generally speaking, if you can eat outside, that's a better thing to do. We are right on the edge. I wish the governor had waited until the numbers were lower, that we could solidify the success we had. I fear that we're kind of back to where we were in late April, heading into May. Some differences, though. We have a lot more discipline with masking now than we had before. The governor has a mandated masking policy, having followed the lead of cities like Austin. That was not the case before. When the governor took that mandate away, I don't think he's going to take it away this time. And masking is our answer to this. Social distancing is our answer for this. Now is the time that we have to remain really dedicated and vigilant. This is Hispanic Heritage Month. The Hispanic heritage and culture, a big part of the heritage and culture in our city of Austin. Big part of who we are as a community. A backbone of our city, especially the small businesses that make up 90% of the businesses in our city. It just in so many ways, but this Hispanic Heritage Month seems especially poignant and more important, different than in the past, having now seen our Hispanic population with a disproportionate number of folks that have to work among essential workers and those that are our economic first responders. Reminded again on Wednesday, we had two cranes that collided in Mueller. Construction workers could be seen just running away from the scene. I've heard reports 12 to 22 people injured. 6 of the people that were injured refused medical service and medical care, and you wonder why that is. When we went out to construction sites and wanted to test workers initially, only 40% of the workers would get tested. We just don't have a healthcare system and a political system that is open to everyone, where everyone feels safe taking part and taking advantage of care and opportunities that are available. But watching that construction site with those cranes at Mueller, we remember that the work they do in construction, obviously so important that the governor deemed that to be an essential business and wouldn't let it close down. That construction workers needed to still show up at work, even in the face of a University of Texas modeling that would indicate that that was a population, a community that was going to be disproportionately hit. And sure enough, it turned out that way, that community was disproportionately hit. As we recover from COVID-19, again, it's important for us to recognize that essential workers in our city, healthcare workers, folks that stock the shelves at grocery stores, people that can't stay home, are also the communities that oftentimes lack essentials and are susceptible to what's happening. This Hispanic Heritage Month, let's celebrate the strengths, the resiliency, the pride that is in that community, and let's also be thankful that they are part of our community. And let's remember that we are all in this together. Yesterday, we passed council the SAVES resolution. It's a resolution that recognizes that within certain industries, for me most especially childcare, music venues, we're in danger of losing the players that make up those industries. So many of our businesses, especially restaurants and bars, facing closures. These are the industries and businesses that are the first to get hurt. They're going to be the last to come back. And unless we do something extraordinary, out of the ordinary, extraordinary, we're going to lose that. And if we lose that, it's going to be hard to replace. If we lose that, it's going to be hard for our city to recover. It's going to be hard for us to hold on to and keep the brand and the culture and the spirit that is our city. So the council said, let's focus on that. Let's see again where we can find resources, focusing on businesses that face a substantial likelihood of closing permanently absent assistance, where there's a low likelihood of similar businesses reopening in the same or nearby locations because increased rent or other market factors. Businesses that face uniquely difficult challenges, pivoting to alternate operating models so that they can be saved. Businesses where assistance would significantly contribute to helping ensure that the business would not fail for at least this next year, so that the economy can come back and they can still be with us. Businesses who receive assistance that would provide the greatest multiplier effect. Not just giving relief or assistance to a person, but to a business or an industry that then serves so many. If we don't have a childcare industry and system and outlets in our city, hard for many people to go back to work, to go get trained and skilled to improve their lives and the lives of their family. We're looking at recovery models for our city and for other cities, and it looks like in many ways Austin may actually recover more quickly than many other cities relative to other cities. But the recovery we have is expected to be kind of a K-shaped recovery, which means that many people are going to do well on the recovery and coming back. But we have a large part of our population, that's the other leg of the K, the workers in these kinds of industries, service industries, that may not recover as quickly. I'm concerned that if we're not deliberate in our community, the disparities we see in our community will even grow if we have one of those K-shaped recoveries. So we really do need to focus on those industries and businesses where their loss would have the greatest detrimental impact on our city's economic recovery and on the preservation of our unique culture and character and brand. We're going to hear back from the manager and the staff here in 2 weeks about how that moves forward. We're talking about creating an Austin Economic Development Corporation, quasi-governmental group, kind of a business that is government mandated, government directed in terms of its goals, but it operates as a private company, perhaps more nimble, can act more quickly, that can leverage our funds so that they go farther. And we're going to continue that work. We also took a vote to proceed with negotiations on expansion of the convention center. I get asked the question a lot, why don't we take all the money that we were going to spend on the convention center and spend that on restaurants and bars and on childcare and music venues? And I wish that we were able to take dollars that came from the hotel tax and spend it generally on things that we need, but that's illegal. The state legislature has mandated how we have to spend those hotel tax dollars. If we could spend it that other way, we would be doing that now. So what we have to do is we have to take those expansion dollars, spend it as the law allows on expansion. But when we do an expansion, the law provides an incentive to us. If we do the expansion, we can get 30% of the available funds, half for cultural and arts. We can spend that part on live music and 15% on historic preservation. And that's how we leverage the expansion of a convention center to derive for us money that we wouldn't otherwise have. The legislature did it that way and earmarked those dollars because the legislature wanted to have that incentive for cities to build convention centers in order to be able to get that other 30%. And that's why we do that. We do that convention center so we can do a replanning of the southeast quadrant of downtown. We're doing it because the hotel industry participating in this is helping to create a dedicated fund to help with homelessness. We do it in our city because as we invest in downtown, as is true with cities across the country and the world, when you invest in downtown and downtown property values go up, the ad valorem tax revenue that the downtown generates becomes the economic engine for the entire city. The money that we use to build pocket parks in neighborhoods all across the city, to put clinics all across the city, the money for that doesn't come from the ad valorem taxes for residential subdivisions. That barely covers the streets and the pipes and the operating expenses. The dollars that we get for these other things comes from areas like downtown, where we have the highest return for economic ad valorem taxes. And that's how we use it downtown in order to be able to afford things across the city. But we're moving forward with negotiating on that, so it's something that council has taken an additional step. It'd be wonderful to take that big box that's downtown right now that's dead at night, then replace it with a convention center that had restaurants and venues and retail on the ground floor, that was open space for everyone in the community to be able to enjoy. That's what we want to design. Also want to wish everybody a happy new year, Lashana Tova, and be safe, take care, good night.